Hello YouTubers. Today we are going to replace this 20-year-old engine on this Woodmizer sawmill with this one, a brand new Lifan Honda copy. This is the old Kohler Command 13, which unfortunately does not start anymore. It had a replacement carburetor, it has sparks, petrol gets to where it needs to go, everything you need is there, but it only runs for a few minutes, that is if you get it started in the first place. And then it just slowly dies again, loses power and just doesn't do anything anymore. So, time to strip it out and replace it with a new one. Let me show you how involved all this fitting will be. This brown piece there, that's the clutch from the old one, which we're going to reuse. This piece down there is the shaft, a 1-inch shaft with a Q-link. Make sure the alignment fits 100% with the new engine. And all these levers there and springs, they will have to be adapted. So obviously nothing of that will fit to the new engine. We're going to remove the bolts. There were 2 bolts here, we have already removed those. The tightener is loose. We just need to remove the other bolts that are in there. That one and that one. And what you can see down here is, if you can see it, there's the roller that currently moves with the engine if I move this whole lot. So the plan is to unhook that belt, take the whole lot out. The belt is off. We managed to pull the thing out. It's loose. The only thing we need to do now is unhook all these cables. So it looks a bit empty without the engine. Gonna clean this all up. All this 20-year-old mess. Whoa. And on Monday comes a new one. So here we have our new engine neatly set up in the kitchen. As expected of these Chinese instructions, they are sometimes, let's say, a little useless. They're indicating wire colors where they aren't there in real life and that kind of stuff. However, the mini plugs are really only going together one way and it didn't pose a problem in the end. The electrics were soon assembled. Now back to the old Kohler. We still need to get the clutch off the shaft. A good squirt of WD-40 and some pliers to prevent the shaft from turning has freed this up in no time. Trying to get it off though is a little trickier. Make sure you don't use too much force and keep pushing alternatively from the top and bottom. Here you can also clearly see the Q shaft. This angle of the old bracket was colliding with the cylinder head and had to go. Don't damage a clutch when fitting it to the new engine. Use a piece of wood to prevent any dents. This shaft now doesn't fit anymore because it bumps into this thing here. So I'm thinking we just fix the whole lot a little bit lower, like there roughly. So I have to drill a new hole here to fit in that engine mount. Move that thing over there. And the way to do it, I think I'm just going to cut out a little bit of metal here, take that metal, weld it in here, drill a hole there, and then have that refixed. This used to be fixed there, I just cut it through. It now needs to be refixed at a lower point, so I think I'm just going to cut a piece off here, can you see that? And rewire that back in so the whole setup sits lower, that we have a little bit of space between that shaft and the actual engine. Some more grinding, some more drilling. Now we have drilled that hole here, tri-fitted it in with a screw, put the other one in there as well, so you can see we just need to bridge this gap there now. I've aligned it all, so this is the thing that I cut off earlier. Got one of these magnetic angles that kind of keeps it on where it's supposed to be. This is the gap we need to close, and the plan is to take a little piece of welding rod, weld it there, weld it onto here, same down here, just to tack it into place temporarily while I sort out the gap that needs to be filled. Here's the piece I just cut off, not the slight angle. So that's my finished bracket with some original Woodmizer orange to prevent it going all rusty straight away. So I've tried fitted the engine on there. I forgot to film how I welded this piece on. Now let's talk about the clearance issues. I knew it was tight. I didn't quite know it was going to be that tight. Now the issue is that's the bit where the exhaust comes off. So I've unscrewed this rather already. You can see that's where the exhaust comes out. Can you see that? And it's gonna hit straight into here. The other option I was thinking about, so I've already undone that. Turn it over like that. Again, put an angle on, but then again, that's a fuel tank. You don't necessarily want to heat that up too much with all your exhausts. How much clearance do you need to the fuel tank? I don't know. Third option would be to cut off all these bolts at the bottom there and refit the thing sort of in this position, facing forward. Now, one thing I gotta do for these bolts, I can't just weld them on like this with a big ring around them of weld or so, because this sits flush on the engine. So if there's a big ring around these, it will sort of be elevated from the exhaust manifold, which is no good. So the way I'm going to do this is take these bolts, go to the grinder, just grind off a little bit so I can weld in that 45-degree corner without actually affecting the distance that this can sit on top of the exhaust manifold. Not sure that makes sense, but I'm sure once you see it, it'll all become clear. Ground these at a bit of an angle, so hopefully I can, so to speak, hide my weld material in there. It's just held by that magnetic triangle. Yeah, and now I'm gonna weld. I turn it off now. You've seen me welding, nothing interesting. I'll show you the end result. There we have it, all three bolts in a new position. Yeah, well, at least it's fitting in the workshop. It's gone dark in the meantime. Gotta hold the camera, the torch, and this thing. Oops, hope you can see that. Wow, perfectly. So, I think everything's back together. This thing is on, this thing is connected, this bracket is on, these things are on. It's time to reinstall the engine. Let's see if we can get this on. So putting that on is always a bit of a trouble, because you gotta move the engine as far over as possible But as you can see, we don't have any more clearance here, so I'm really pleased that that went on fine. Now this mechanism is straightforward, so the engine is bolted onto this plate. This plate in turn will be bolted to the frame of the sawmill, and you have this mechanism here to tighten it up, tighten the belt. If I have to take this apart again in a few years, I don't want to be, you know, messing around with rusted up old screws. So this one here is copper grease. Just put a slight dash on there. It just seriously helps if you ever need to take it apart again. Because it's quite a small opening. Now, previously I've welded this battery tray on there, so I've made 2 cables up already. So, clearly says here, plus here, negative down here. Strip it off. Just like that. Lovely. Let's see what happens. On. Still cold. Maybe we should put it this way. And frankly, I have no idea what this is about. Why do we have 2 of those?